A soft hospital morning. Light filters through blinds, painting pale stripes on linoleum. The hum of monitors and distant voices form a quiet hymn. Eliza, a shy nurse in her late 20s. Hair pulled back, eyes that watch instead of speak. She moves with careful purpose, carrying a chart, smiling at strangers in the way of someone who believes small kindnesses matter. MRS. Carter, a dignified woman in her 70s. Graceful, soft hands etched with time. She is deaf, wearing a hearing aid tucked away like a secret. She sits by a window, a cardigan around her shoulders, alert but gentle. A young man in expensive tailoring lingers by the doorway, a protective presence without intrusion. A breath of controlled power surrounds him. This is Michael Hart, early 30s. Handsomely reserved. Unfamiliar softness in his gaze when he looks at his mother. Eliza approaches, chart in hand. She pauses, notices Mrs. Carter's hands resting in her lap. Eliza, good morning, Mrs. Carter. How did you sleep? Mrs. Carter looks, smiles. Her lips form words Eliza cannot hear. She feels the distance. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small notepad and pen. Mrs. Carter writes, good morning. I slept fine. Is Michael here? Eliza smiles, unsure. She senses a need. She sits, careful and slow as if gentleness itself were instructions. Eliza, he comes and goes. He visits when he can. Would you like a cup of tea? Mrs. Carter's eyes soften. She shakes her head no, then pauses, searching Eliza's face with a curiosity that is not uncommon among people who communicate differently. Her eyes flick to Eliza's hands. Mrs. Carter takes Eliza's hand, lifts it, and signs something quick, precise. Eliza freezes, caught between embarrassment and wonder. The words are foreign and intimate. Michael watches from the doorway, something unreadable on his face. He notices the exchange. He turns away before anyone can notice him watching. Later, at the nurse's station, whispers pass like paper boats. Eliza, self-taught and shy, had once learned a handful of signs to help a child patient. She never imagined using them again. Eliza moves through the hallway, folding linens, checking charts. Her life is rituals and small satisfactions. She helps where she is needed and keeps her heart folded like a letter she never sends. A doctor calls for Eliza. There is a flurry of practical work, IVs and charts, the mechanical rhythm of hospital life. Yet between one task and the next, Eliza's thoughts linger on the soft exchange by the window. That afternoon, the million-dollar suit pauses again at the doorway. Michael approaches, composed, businesslike. He is all control until he looks at his mother. His voice is low, a private thing. Michael, how is she? Eliza, she's coherent, sharp. She asked for you this morning. Michael, I was late. I had a meeting. It ran long. Eliza, she understands more than you think. She remembers things clearly. She asked about your meeting. Michael swallows. He is used to being shielded, presented to the world as someone who never falters. Here, his armor slips. Michael, she worries I prioritize work over family. Eliza, maybe she worries because she loves you. People worry in the language they know. He looks at Eliza as if trying to catalog her. He notes the quiet strength in her voice, the way her eyes refuse to hurry. A soft smile touches Michael's mouth and retreats. He turns then, a man heading for an elevator, and in the doorway hesitates. Michael, thank you. She watches him go. The elevator doors close between them like a brief chapter. Days pass. Eliza visits Mrs. Carter's room whenever she can. The woman begins to open, her laughter customary in gestures and scribbled notes. She compliments Eliza with signs and smiles, and Eliza, gradually, begins to answer in the same silent language with measured grace. Word travels. Nurses whisper that the gentleman who visits is the owner of Hart Industries, a CEO who moves markets and dinners and headlines. Michael Hart does not need introductions. His name arrives before him in the form of press clippings and crisp envelopes. Yet the corridor cares only for pulse and chart and breath. One evening, an emergency. The hospital buzzes. A patient in ICU begins to seize. Machines beep like a panic chorus. Eliza runs, hands steady despite the rush. Michael happens to be visiting that night, and he runs with her instinctively toward the chaos. He is not used to this level of hands-on helplessness, but he is with her, the pair thrown into the same urgent orbit. Eliza directs with the quiet authority of someone trained to move when breath is at stake. Michael watches how she moves, an orchestra conductor without a baton. He notices small things, the firmness of her touch, the gentle voice she uses for the frightened family in the waiting area, how she writes quick instructions clearly when needed. After the crisis passes, Michael finds her leaning against a nurse's station, exhausted but composed. Michael, you were very good in there. Eliza, you were watching. Michael, I was. You were calm. I couldn't stop looking. Eliza, people need someone steady when everything shakes. There is a moment, simple and unexpected. Michael reaches into his pocket and takes out a small leather-bound book. He flips to a page and taps a word. It is a bilingual sign guide, professional and delicate. Michael, my mother showed me once. I don't remember much, but I want to. For her. For you, maybe. Eliza is surprised. A heat spreads through her that is not embarrassment, but hope. She takes the book, her fingers brushing his. Michael looks like a man unsure how to ask for grace. He is used to getting things he wants with a nod. This is different. Eliza, show me a sign for when you are all right. Michael hesitates, then follows her lead. She forms the sign with care, slow so he can mimic. He stumbles, then his hands find rhythm. He laughs, soft and raw. He is a man unpracticed in tenderness. Montage. Michael practicing alone in his apartment, fingers tracing silent languages like a new instrument. Eliza at the hospital between patients practicing with him in empty stairwells, stolen minutes that feel like daylight. Mrs. Carter watching them with luminous approval. A late-night walk by the hospital, Michael and Eliza sharing coffee, her hand describing stars as if she could draw constellations in the air. One afternoon, Michael invites Eliza to a lunch. Strictly professional, he says. The setting is a glass conference room overlooking the city, a skyline of polished ambitions. Eliza feels like an intruder among glass and chrome. She is in simple scrubs, he is in fine tailoring. There is a small vase of white flowers on the table, placed by someone who believes in etiquette. Michael, I know my invitation doesn't match your schedule. I wanted to say thank you for being with her. Eliza, you didn't have to ask me to help your mother. Michael, I know, but I wanted to be the one to show appreciation. For someone who reads courage without speaking. She blushes, and that blush reconfigures the room. He tells her about his childhood, brief and bright as a match. How he remembers his mother signing lullabies. How he forgot over years of boardrooms and travel. He speaks carefully, revealing the cracks in his public story. Michael, my father used to tell me that weakness has no place in our house. I learned to be relentless. I learned that silence could be filled with deals. I didn't learn how to listen to people I love. Eliza listens, not judging. She signs a simple word, family. Michael watches, trying to commit the shape. Their hands almost touch. The air between them thickens with unspoken possibility. The relationship folds into ordinary things. Michael visits the hospital more often. He sits in silent company, learning signs from Eliza and his mother. He arranges for therapy sessions, for technology that amplifies the small comforts, for house modifications that honor Mrs. Carter's independence. He begins to use his resources for a purpose that is tender rather than tactical. News happens. A philanthropist gala is announced, and Michael is the headliner. Hart Industries is making an announcement about a new fund for healthcare innovations. The event will be glittering, full of speeches and donor faces. Michael invites Eliza to come as his guest. Eliza hesitates. The world of gala gowns and flashing cameras is a language she does not know. She accepts. The night of the gala arrives in a flurry of silk and light. Eliza is transformed in a simple dress, hair loose, her shyness now an accessory she wears well. Michael looks at her as if at an art piece. Cameras find them, flashes puncturing the air like tiny suns. Michael introduces Eliza to his colleagues as someone who has taught him to see things differently. He speaks with authenticity and vulnerability in a way that surprises even his board. He announces the new fund and dedicates it to those who teach us how to listen. The applause is warm. Mrs. Carter watches from a box seat beside Michael, signing a word Eliza understands, proud. During the evening, a reporter angles a question at Michael about his dedication. He smiles, and the answer slides out like something newly learned. Michael, I was taught to be a leader of industry. I'm learning to be a leader of compassion. I have someone to thank for that. Her name is Eliza. The world hums with approval. People write headlines, But the only person in the room whose approval matters to Eliza is the one who signs without fanfare in the darkened balcony. Mrs. Carter, whose hands are patient and sure. After the gala, the private life returns in tactile, ordinary ways. Michael takes Eliza to meet his grandmother, to a small bookstore where he keeps old family photographs. He opens an album, revealing images of a young Michael with his mother laughing and signing silly things. The sight unmoors something in him. Michael, I thought I had to be everything. The business, the family name. But seeing you with her, it changed what I want to be. Eliza, I didn't change you. You chose to change. He reaches for her hand. For the first time, his touch is not transactional. It is a request. The city outside holds its breath like an audience. But life is never a straight line. A complication, a shareholder proposes a merger that would take Hart Industries in a direction Michael cannot reconcile with his new priorities. Boardroom battles flare. Michael's decisions are scrutinized. He fights to retain control of his company and direct it toward philanthropic missions. The stress tightens him, and he retreats into the patterns that once defined him. Eliza watches with helplessness. She is not able to offer strategic counsel, only presence. Mrs. Carter senses the tension and signs to Eliza a question. Will he push everyone away again? Eliza, he will not. He has you now, and he has what you gave him. The board meeting escalates. A vote threatens the integrity of the fund Michael set up. Old rivals prowl. In the cafeteria after a grueling day, Michael sits hollowed out. He is the type of man used to winning, and defeat tastes like rust. Michael, I feel like I'm losing everything I built. Eliza, maybe you're losing the things that needed to be lost. Michael looks at her, confused and intrigued. Eliza, if everything was built on what you believed you had to be, maybe you need to lose that to find what you truly want to be. He studies her, searching for how simplicity can contain such clarity. The next scene is a turning point. Michael calls a press conference. Cameras gather. He takes the stage, his face steady. He speaks not like a CEO reading from a prepared paper, but like someone who has been rewired by small kindnesses. He announces the reorganization of Hart Industries' priorities, the commitment to healthcare and accessibility initiatives, the hard decision to divest from lines of business that harm communities. It is risky, controversial, brave. In the crowd sits his mother, signing rapidly, her face alight with approval. Eliza watches from the front row, tears brimming. Michael's words are not only strategic, they are an apology and a promise. After the speech, he makes his way through the press gauntlet with a practiced smile until he reaches Eliza. He takes her hand and signs, his movements still awkward but full of intent. Michael signs, "Will you stay with me?" Eliza reads his hands, a surprised laughter bubbling up. She signs back, simple and honest, "Yes." They kiss, quietly and sweetly, a promise made in shared silence. Time passes. The fund thrives. Clinics open in underserved neighborhoods. Hart Industries stock takes hits and then stabilizes as the market learns to respect purpose as value. Michael learns to walk a tightrope between shareholder expectations and moral commitments. He stumbles but keeps his balance with Eliza's steadying hand. There are moments of domestic tenderness. Michael and Eliza waking in a small apartment they share above a row of shops, a place Michael insists on because Eliza loves the neighborhood baker and because it keeps them close to the hospital where 1,000 small lives are saved each day. They cook badly and laugh, sign to each other across the table, and fall asleep to the sound of a city that is waking up rather than collapsing. An illness threatens Mrs. Carter again. This time it is slower, a gentle surrender to age. The family gathers. Michael holds his mother's hands and signs the lullaby she used to sign him as a child. Eliza sits close and mirrors the signs, creating a chorus of hands. Mrs. Carter opens her eyes, smiles, and signs a word that echoes across the room. "Thank you." She closes her eyes and slips away in peace, her family around her, hands clasping hands. It is quiet and whole. At the funeral, people speak of legacies and achievements. But the thing that lingers is the way Mrs. Carter taught people to listen without sound. Her life becomes a seed for initiatives that make hospitals more accessible, that educate caregivers in sign language, that place small books of communication in waiting rooms. Michael and Eliza stand by the graveside, hands intertwined. He is changed, not because a romantic plot demanded it, but because a woman he loved taught him how to listen. He has learned to direct his resources toward people, not trophies. Months later, at the opening of a new community clinic named for Mrs. Carter, Michael speaks. His speech is not rehearsed. He speaks from the place of someone who has reoriented his compass. Michael, my mother taught me that silence is not absence. It's another way to be present. Eliza taught me how to translate that silence into action. This clinic is for every voice that has ever been unheard. Applause. The ribbon is cut. Inside, the clinic buzzes with the warm, practical work that heals bones and hearts alike. Eliza watches children learning signs on a painted wall. A little boy tries to mimic the shape of a star sign. She laughs, delighted, and signs back the constellations she once traced in empty stairwells. Michael stands beside her, and they share a look that doesn't need sound. It holds decades of belonging. He reaches for her, and his thumb brushes a line on her wrist where a watch once left a mark. He signs, poorly but with full heart, "I love you." She signs back, "I love you too." They kiss. This time, the world is not a backdrop, but a witness. Not a noisy crowd, but a tapestry woven of small, intentional choices. The camera of life pulls back to reveal the clinic, the neighborhood, the hospital across the street, each building a heartbeat in the city's body. On a quiet evening, Michael and Eliza sit on a bench in the park. A blanket, shared coffee, the muted hum of distant traffic. They are comfortable in the unremarkable, which now feels like the most extraordinary thing. Eliza, did you ever think you'd be standing here like this? Michael, I thought I would be standing here with awards and taller buildings. I didn't know what I needed until I met your hands. She smiles, and that smile is a small constellation. Michael, what do you want? For us. For you. For me. Eliza, small things. A life with meaning. Laughter that lasts. The kind of mornings where I get to bring tea and signs to someone who needs them. Michael, then we'll have that. They fall silent. He takes a breath, unguarded. Michael, would you marry me? She looks at the ring he opens with a hand that still trembles with nerves. There is no city fanfare, no paparazzi. Just two people in the glow of freedom. Eliza nods, tears in her eyes. She signs an emphatic yes, and he reaches to place the ring on her finger, the motion clumsy and tender. Their wedding is small and soft. Mrs. Carter's friends and neighbors attend. Nurses from the hospital line the aisle, signing congratulations in a chorus of hands. The vows are signed and spoken, a bilingual promise. Michael wipes a tear with the back of his hand when he signs again that he will always listen first. Years later, the Heart Foundation continues to grow, but its heartbeat remains local. Community clinics, scholarships for nurses, educational programs, and sign language for hospital staff. The company balances profit and purpose like a carefully tended ship.